What's up, fam? This is Jay Floyd, aka Big Bro. I just coming to you with another episode, man. I want to thank everybody for joining in. I got a lot of great feedback from the last episode, man. I talked about, it was part two of how to show love. You know what I mean? We was talking about protection versus challenge, man. It's kind of like, a seesaw. You push down on one, the other one comes up. So it was something that I felt like we needed to talk about, whether you're a parent or whether you're a child, dealing with your parents. I think all of that is key, man. So today's topic. I always think about that song, Self-Destruction. I don't know if y'all remember that, man, back in the day when KRS kicked it off. Today's topic, self-destruction. It really ain't the rap audience that's bugging. Yo, so the biggest thing what we wanted to talk about today was what I consider another one of my concepts, right? I always have these things that kind of just bounce around in my head a lot. I have a conversation, full-fledged theory fleshed out in my head, man. Sometimes I think, at the end of it, it's like, nah, that's trash. Throw that away. But sometimes at the end of it, it's like, man, that's really good. Flesh that out and see how that can, how you can sharpen yourself in that area and see how that theory can help other people. You know what I mean? So today we want to talk about what I call currency or social currency. This is what I consider, man, like, when I was growing up, man, when you're coming of age, for me coming of age as a man, when you're like 12, 13, a lot of times, there's a lot of confusion. You don't have an identity. You don't have a whole lot of confidence. Even some of the bullies or the people that you think walk around with a lot of swagger, they don't have a lot of confidence. You know what I mean? That they find a way to portray the image that they want to be portrayed. One of the things I'm always telling my kids, especially my oldest child who's approaching high school right now. She started high school, but as she was going through middle school, and a lot of, you meet these people and they seem like they got it all together, or they seem like they're bigger than life, or they got this big personality or a lot of confidence, or they might be able to fight, or they might be attractive and everybody likes them, but those people struggle with confidence and trying to build too, and knowing who they are. And one of the biggest things that I think everybody does, we look for some kind of currency, and I think this goes all the way into life. Once we get older in our adult life, the currency becomes actual currency. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who don't have a whole lot of confidence and go out and try to make something of themselves. You know what I mean? And I think this kind of ties into this tweet that I saw the other day where this dude said, black men respond to trauma by trying to get rich, and I thought that was deep because it kind of plays into my idea of currency, but it brings that trauma aspect because so many of us, especially a lot of us who came from the hood, we deal with a lot of trauma, and it's really undiagnosed trauma. We don't think about the fact that we've been through it and we deal with that, right? So the way I was thinking about it, man, is, when you get to be of a certain age, you can't go out and make six figures like you can when you get older. When you get older, that still won't work either. And we'll talk about that on another episode. But when you're younger, you still have that same drive. I want to latch on to something that gives me strength, right? And if we don't have people constantly pouring into us, helping us build and giving us a really good framework. So a lot of times, even if we got the framework, we struggle with that. But if sometimes we need that really good, strong structure underneath us to understand that we are worth something just off who we are, just off who we are, just off being born, off being made by the Creator. You're worth a lot, that you don't need anything extra. We don't know that. As humans, none of us believe that, right? So we go around and we think, all right, what can I hang my hat on? If I go to school and everybody's more popular than me, or there's a bully that's picking on me and I want to blend in, or I at least don't want to be an outcast. What do I got? What's the currency I can reach in my pocket and spend? For a lot of people, they might reach in and they got charisma. Boom. I can come in and be smooth. I can make the ladies love me. I can make the boys like me. You know what I mean? A lot of people have physical dominance. They might get violent or be real good at sports, be dominant in fighting. They'll dominate you, or in a sport, they'll dominate you. And then they get the adoration, respect, and fear of other people, right? Because they can dominate you in some way. So that's their currency, and a lot of people, maybe like me, I couldn't find currency, right? Like I was, I remember being in like 6th grade, 7th grade, and it was tough. My brother is out here spending currency like nothing, because he has, number one, he has charisma. Number two, he had physical dominance, right? So he first tried to apply it at sports. And when he didn't have what it took, work ethic wise for that, he went into violence, started just fighting, right? So the charisma of the combination of having that charisma currency and that violence, the physical dominance currency, led him into who he is. And I would venture to guess for a lot of people who get into the more gang territory type thing, probably do have that combination, that ability to be leaders and that physical dominance trait, right? So for me, I'm watching my brother spend this currency that I don't have. I wasn't really into sports. I was in the comic books. I wasn't into physical dominance. I was cerebral. So I was at home reading. My mom had a lot of older books. My brother had a lot of older books, and I would just read them. So when it came time, those kind of things don't spend for much currency. Maybe early on, 5th, 6th grade, me and my friends in our nerdy classes, I might get a little cash with them. You know what I mean? Off of knowing some things, or, like living that lifestyle. But it wasn't going to make me popular. It wasn't going to get me where I wanted to be. Right. But then right around the end of 7th grade, I wrote a rap, and that got me the cash I needed. That was finally it. The rap. I got popularity. People looked at me and respected me and liked me off of me writing raps. And all of a sudden I had some currency. I had some money in my pocket. Right. And I think, I started hanging with a lot of other people who were into music. They might be in the band or they might be dancers. And you start to see a lot of that currency exchange, you know what I mean? And, we see a lot of that. And I think it's really key in that age, man, when you hit 12, 13, 14, because I can remember the insecurities just mounting, right? Like, I think in 1 week, I got called fat and skinny all in 1 week. The same way, you know what I mean? Because, young people, man, it makes no logical sense on what they'll do to make fun of you and tear you down, And my defense mechanism was to start looking at my... What's up, family? This is Jay Floyd, man, aka Big Bro, and thank y'all for listening to the Big Bro podcast, man. Listen, while you're here, I want to shout out the company that I've been doing some business with, man, Greenwood Dist. Man, Greenwood Dist is an apparel company, man. They specialize in graphic tees. Man, they got some really bold pro-black messages on their t-shirts, man, and they fit right along with my brand, because anybody who has seen me speak, who has seen me in public, who's seen me perform my music, they know that I like to have bold statements, man. I like to say it with my chest. You know what I'm saying? And Greenwood Dist is really dope, man. Not only are they black owned, but they're also named after the Greenwood district in Tulsa, Oklahoma, man, and y'all, which is the place where Black Wall Street once stood, man. So you know I'm all about knowing my history and talking about history and making sure that we know it and we're educated about it. So go and check out Greenwood Dist, man. Check out their shirts. You would love to rock those right now, man. This summer, this fall, rock those. And matter of fact, for us listening, man, for anybody listening to this show, they said they will knock 10% off for you for a lifetime, man, if you use the promo code Big Bro, BIGBRO, man. So go and check them out right now, man. And right now, let's get back to the show, man. Pocket, what do I got? Where's my currency? Right? So when I finally got into rapping, I didn't look back, and I was able to gain some currency, right? But looking back on it, you start to see, you can piece your life together. We're all kind of in the same boat. We got different gifts. We got different skill sets, different sets of experiences. Like I said, there's a lot of people who go towards physical characteristics, physical traits, physical dominance, physical attractiveness. There's a lot of men and women who start to play on the fact that they may develop early, or they may develop in a way that's really attractive to the opposite sex. And all of a sudden, that's their currency. I can remember some dudes like that, man. They might get a mustache early, or they have those, those little stringy muscles that like a 10 or 11-year-old might have, or maybe they, they just got, they got dealt a better hand in the DNA chart. The dice rolled a little better for them. And all of a sudden, they're more attractive. They got the muscles, the things that the young ladies are looking for. All of a sudden, they got that cash. And, the same goes with young ladies. There's a lot of young ladies, they may develop early. All of a sudden, the hips is coming in. The butt is coming in. Their curves are being developed womanly. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden the men are looking, and they can use that as cash, cachet/cash, double entendre on that. And I think it's kind of the reason why I bring it up, because it is something that we all deal with. This is a common trope. This is a common struggle, but there's danger in it, right? There's danger in it. We see our young men and young women become overly sexualized, or become, caught up in the thing that gave them their movement, man, gave them that first feeling. All of a sudden, that's the thing they latching on to. You're not latching on to the fact that you're a child of God no more. You're not latching on to the spiritual gifts God might have put in you. All of a sudden, you're latching on to these things that you think define you, and you building this character, and I think it's indicative that we even start to have nicknames. You'll notice right around that time that we find the thing that we think we like that can give us some kind of leeway in the world that we live in. We all of a sudden start to get a nickname, or we start to get a name for ourselves. That's no coincidence. It's because we're starting to define something. We're starting to build a self outside of who we were created to be, right? And a lot of us hold on to that self for a long time, and you'll see people 30, 40, 50 years old still clinging to that thing, man, even with the clinging to the nickname, clinging to the image, clinging to the behavior, instead of really digging in and doing that work that we all have to do before it's all said and done, of realizing, man, who did God create me to be? And then you also have some other cases where people you can leverage, and I am one of those cases. I'm guilty of this, of using the spiritual gift that I do have, using that as my own, right? As my tool, So as one of the things that I do on this show is utilize my voice. Like I've said, I'm more of God's microphone. If we're all a tool on God's tool belt, I'm something of a microphone. I have the ability, and it's been shown throughout my life that I have the ability to say things and use words and break things down in a way that people can relate to. It hits them in the heart, it gets their attention, and they can soak it up and utilize it in their life. So that's a spiritual gift, right? I'm a life coach. It's what I was born to be. But I can also use that to my own personal advantage, right? And that's one of the things that I had to come to terms with, that for a long time, specifically with women, I was being a womanizer. You know, I was utilizing that gift to get women to trust me. But instead of, getting in and gaining their trust in order to help heal them, I was gaining their trust in order for me to be a God of their life, right? To be a figure in their life, for me to gain more significance in my own mind, right? And that goes against what I'm born to do. It's not using it in a way. This is me creating me, right? And at the end of the day, this is the overall point. Anytime we do that, when we create us, whether it's just tiny or whether it's real big, at the end of the day, God will crush that, right? He will destroy that so that we can get back to what he created us to be, which almost always is more powerful, more glorious, right? And we get back into that. And it ties back into a lot of, I was talking to some of my cats at church the other day, and we were talking about the whole Kanye thing, and I love Kanye West. Kanye is one of my favorite artists, and I root for Kanye. But I kind of felt early on, when I first fell in love with his musical output, I felt like, man, this dude could really be like one of the greatest artists we've ever seen, man. He could really do some great things. And he came with Jesus Walks, and I was like, man, this dude could be a great messenger for God, man. Just in life, of helping people, not even necessarily in a gospel or religious way, but this dude can really bring light to what God can do in your life. God saved this man from the wreckage on his deathbed to bring him to the heights of art, But I knew in order for him to do it, he's going to have to really go far away from his purpose and build this thing up. And God's going to destroy that thing so that he's only left with what God created for him, with the purpose for his life. And that happens to a lot of us. Sometimes we call it rock bottom, but a lot of times at rock bottom, God is sitting right there next to us. And he's like, this is far from rock bottom. This is actually the top of the mountain, right? You just were looking in the wrong area. And sometimes, God will let us a little dilly-dally and play around for a minute, just to get our, practice. He'll give us a little leeway, but we come back, or he'll grab us back, That's the way it works sometimes, So I just really wanted to talk about that, man. I just want to ask y'all, man, how have y'all think about in your life? Go back to age 10, 11, 12. What was it like when you started feeling those insecurities and doubts and reaching in your pocket for a little cash? What did you eventually start spending? What was the currency you eventually started exchanging and trading in? What's the stock market that you're in right now? Maybe you're not still in it, but what is the stock market you reached for? Think about that, and how can you allow God to take that? How can you package it up? Say, I'm done with this costume. I wore it on enough Halloweens. I'm done with this costume, this Superman costume. I can pack it in a box and give it to God, let him have it, right? And now I'm left with, who am I really? And who did God create me to be, right? Give that some thought, y'all. Thank you for listening to me again, man. Join me again next time, man. This is Jay Floyd, man. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. Peace.